What do we gotta do?
Who is that?
Matt Carney.
Okay, we ready to go, guys?
Yeah.
Call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd like to welcome everybody to the November 13th meeting of the Rhinebeck Village Board. Joel Tyner, our county legislator, is unable to attend tonight as he has a conflict with a county meeting in Poughkeepsie. So the first item on our agenda tonight is discussion about the intermunicipal agreement. What that involves is the Village of Rhinebeck and the Town of Rhinebeck are looking to craft an intermunicipal agreement that will address the development of the Thompson-Mazzarella Park. Howie and I had attended a meeting at Town Hall a week ago this past Friday. Representatives from Town Board, Howie and I from the village side of it. Howie, of course, is a liaison to the Thompson-Mazzarella Park Committee. Sally Mazzarella, Bob Ellsworth were there from the Park Committee. Bob Babarad was there from the Planning Board for the town.
Mike Trimble.
Mike Trimble was there. Woody Deerzay from the Planning Board was there. Melody Moore from the Planning Board was there. From our side, David Miller from the Planning Board was there. And basically, after that meeting, there were three legal questions that we needed to address, and I had spoken with Rich last Monday and gotten positive answers from him, and basically what those three questions were. I had concerns about how this would all work from a legal aspect, because typically what happens is a developer comes before a planning board, whether it be in the town or the village, and they have an engineer and an attorney that represent them. And then if our planning board on the village side needs expert advice as far as engineering and attorneys, an escrow account is then set up to pay for the cost for that. So my concern was, all right, we have a planning board, we're being asked to waive these types of fees. Is there any legal ramifications to us if our planning board does not consult with our village engineer or our village attorney? And I didn't feel it was fair for the village to put our planning board in the position of not using their own people. So the basic answer to that question was we have to pass a resolution approving the same engineer that the town is using. The town has used Weston and Sampson to represent them for development of the park. They are, of course, a licensed professional engineer. We would then pass a resolution that would appoint them as the engineer to represent the village planning board in the development process that happens in the village. They would stamp a plan, and they have then, under their professional liability, would be responsible for any legal ramifications if a case were to arise. So that was number one. Number two was, do I have that paperwork with me?
Maintenance of the park.
Oh, yeah, maintenance of the park was another one. Actually, water came up too. Yeah, we need to, that's going to be a discussion for later, is with the park expanding, there's going to be more use for water. The town does pay for water now, and it was Joe Gelb's suggestion that the village give them the water, correct? Correct. So our eyebrows kind of went up on that.
Like yours are right
I have
now.
a discussion on that later on as well.
And then, what was the third one, Howie? I didn't bring that piece of paper up here. I had it written down on
This one here, I don't know if that's it.
There's other questions, yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you. I left this downstairs. Oh, as far as SEQA in the village, can the town be the lead agency for SEQA in the village? And the answer is yes, they can, as long as the village board does not want to be the lead agency or any other interested agency. So, for example, this is going to go out to all the people that would normally be contacted. And more than likely, the town will end up being the lead agent on it. We can be the lead agent for SEQA in the village if we so choose. My feeling is keep this as simple as possible. Let the town be the lead agent on the entire development of the park. one other question was, can the town and the village have joint meetings together and public hearings together? And the answer to that is yes, although we both separately have to advertise that we are having a joint meeting and what the purpose of the meeting is. So those were the three big questions that came up tonight. Howie and I attended this meeting. Rich has answered affirmative that everything's good with all three of those questions. So tonight, what I am going to make a motion to do is to appoint Weston and Sampson to represent the village as the engineering firm on the development that will happen within the village limit. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
You know, I've never really liked the park master plan. I know this is kind of a separate issue, but I didn't think they really referenced, you know, the public needs survey was not really incorporated in the plan. It was created by a landscape architect. And now it's old, you know, it's like 6 years old. I know this has nothing to do with that, but now the soccer parents are, you know, up in arms because they weren't included in the discussion.
Right,
Well,
we all know
6, 7
that.
Well, that's a whole separate issue.
What I'm going to say is.
I know
that-
that,
yeah,
it's a
what-
separate issue, except that
What I'm
at the
going to
village
say is
level,
that.
this has been a train that's just been rolling, and we've had absolutely no contribution whatsoever. in
And
this.
what I'm going to say to that is that there is a plan here that's been presented to go before these planning boards. And the proper venue for anybody that would like to see changes to that plan is to go to the town board. Because the
That's-
planning board
yeah.
only is
No.
there for site plan review.
That's
They're
right.
not there to modify the master plan. So, I understand what you're saying, Brant, is
And we've
that,
never had anything to do with this,
Yeah.
and.
Well, who
yeah.
hasn't, the village?
Yeah, we've never approved the master plan.
and,
Nor-
I don't think we should get into a lengthy discussion about the master plan for the park, because we're not the ones that are going to change that. It's going to be done on the town side.
Well, I encourage
And
them,
anybody that wants to have that done needs to go to the town board.
I encourage them to do that.
I would
I just wanted
encourage,
to put that out.
I would encourage you to go to the town board on it,
Well, I've written a letter when they had the public comment period before I was even elected officials.
Yeah.
But-
There's a plan that's been developed, and that's what's appearing before the planning boards, and the planning boards are not the ones that can change
No,
that
I
plan.
understand, I understand the procedural aspect.
Can I have my piece of paper that I make myself some comments on? Thank you.
Terry, you got anything you want to comment on?
No.
Howie?
Yeah, I just want to counter what you said, and I don't want to be bickering here all night about this, but it's a misconception that the soccer league was not involved. There's been people who have been head of the soccer league all along these years that have been involved with the park.
The dynamic that's being faced there is that there's been a turnover in the soccer league, there's new people involved on it, and they have a wish list that doesn't match what the wish list was when the master plan was developed. So, as I said,
But the
They
master
need-
plan
they need-
doesn't refer back to the wish list from the public needs survey, which is what our master plan, the village, does. It's very well written, and so they documented their findings.
and like I said, the venue is to go to the town board. with it.
I know.
I have a couple of questions. One of them has to do with the fees. As I understand, I guess when you talk about fees, you mean engineering fees? You don't-
Engineering and
you
legal
don't-
fees.
You don't mean application fees?
No.
And so on. We don't have to pay them either.
I have been told that the town is paying the fees
Yeah,
for the town planning side of
but
it.
we don't have to
And
pay
if that-
separate ones.
If that's the case, then
Fees.
we should be paid for our fee, application fees
Fees
and
as well, okay.
things as well.
The other question I have is this company, Weston and Sampson. If they get paid by the town, how will they respond to our requests and our needs? How will they
They
address
have
our?
to, they have to come in front of our planning board.
Okay.
All right, so any of the site plan that falls within the village limit is reviewed by our planning board, and their concerns, according to our building code and zoning code, have to be addressed at that level. So that's how we're gonna get respect from them, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments?
No, I mean, I'm agreeing that your changes were a good idea. I just was talking about the whole concept.
Yeah, and I know exactly where you're coming from, and I know there's a lot of other people that feel that way. So, with that said, we'll call the motion. All those in favor of appointing Weston and Sampson to represent the village in the development of the Thompson Mazzarella Park, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. So the intermunicipal agreement part of it, Bruce had sent out a working draft today. I haven't got a chance to look at it yet, but that will be moving forward. Okay. Department reports, wastewater, Grant?
Okay, in October, we had 3.84 million gallons of wastewater treated, 101,400 gallons of sludge processed, 14,319 pounds of sludge processed, 27.3 cubic yards of sludge processed. It was a pretty quiet month. We did lose power after Sandy, but it was only for about 45 minutes. And Bill Haight was there on duty. He stayed overnight just to keep an eye on things. And so that was pretty routine. We did install the new generator at the hospital. If you recall, we went over those bids a long time ago, but it finally has been installed. We are getting bids for the fuel tank removal for the 500-gallon, to remove the 500-gallon fuel tank and replace it with a 1,000-gallon fuel tank. So I have bids from American Petro and Luzon, and Costco wrote a letter indicating they weren't going to bid on it. And we're getting a bid from Ira Conklin, so that's in process. Sludge press, we're going to have the pre-bid conference on Thursday at 10 here to answer contractors' questions. The proposals are going to be opened on the 20th at 3 next week, Tuesday before Thanksgiving. So
Did we want to talk about setting a,
I was going to ask those
You gonna do
guys at the pre-bid what date they want to have a meeting to approve the bids.
All right.
Because I'm going to see them, I'm going to see Dennis and Anthony at that pre-bid
Okay.
meeting on Thursday, so
all right,
if that's okay with you guys.
yep,
And then I'll email to set up a meeting.
that's it, Brent?
I think that's it.
Okay. Water Department, Heinz?
Yeah. As I told you before, I'm trying to build a relationship and a bridge between the water that's coming in from the Hudson River into the plant, being processed and put out of the plant, and then also relate that to the billing that we have. And to that end, we have talked to one of the engineers and support groups from Aqualogic, and they have told us that in order to meter, the best way to meter it is to use the input meter. That is the most accurate one because there's less perturbation in the line. It's a long line, so when the pumps kick in and so on, there's not a lot of churning going on, which is not true for the meter that is on the output side, which is a very short distance and so on. So we get the most accurate representation of the water that we are processing to the plant is from the input valve, from the valve that gets from the Hudson into the plant. And I don't know if you have got a copy of this, but so you can see, I put a flow diagram together to see how this whole thing works. So what we have decided, what I have decided, and Tom Wallbank, our head water operator, has decided, is to use the input of the water that comes from the Hudson and subtract from that the backwash, which is considerable, and then come up, use that as the net water that we are actually pushing out into the community and into the reservoir. For the month of October, these numbers were we treated about 12,490,000 gallons. We used, of these 12,490,000 gallons, we used 327,000 gallons for the backwash to clean the filter beds, and so the net of that is 12,163,000 gallons that we push out into the community. And so I'm using a two-pronged approach to get a relationship and get to understand why we have that huge disparity between the water that we sucking out of the Hudson and the water that we're building on the other end. And so the two-pronged approach is, number one, is to get a handle on what is happening in the plant and what is the accurate numbers that we can depend on in the output. And now I'm working on the second part, and I'm going to talk to that later in the presentation here, on how I'm trying to plug the holes, or at least understand where the holes are in the various areas that we're using. Well, yeah, well, but they are where we're losing billable water, or we are using water that we are not being
Why do I
billed.
feel like I'm back in school?
The second item I want to talk about is the security fence. That security fence has been installed, and I talked to Pete Dunn this morning, and to see how he wants to handle security on this, and he asked me to get him 3 keys for the lock and chain that we have on the fence. So he uses one in each patrol car. He has apparently some kind of a device where he has all the keys in there. And also I'm going to get one for the village hall downstairs, so that we're going to have four keys.
Would we perhaps be better off with a combination?
We tried that, and we talked about that. Tom and I talked about it, and his problem was that when they come in at night, like 3 o'clock in the morning, and there's no light there, and they fumble around and trying to find what the combination is, and he thought that was not a good idea. So he thought it would have been better, unless we put a light up there that, you know.
What we ought to talk to Pete about is what the state police should probably have keys, because once our officers go off at night, then the state police would probably be the ones responding. So we probably should talk with Pete and have Pete set it up. I had talked to Darren Forbes about this about 2 months ago, you know, and said, you know, we're going to be installing this fence, and you know, there's no longer going to be able to drive up to the water plant. And I said, you know, once we have this ready to go, we'll certainly let you guys know, because they're going to be the responding agency, you know.
Okay. Well, I had a sense that yes, I will do that.
Okay.
The next item has to do with the output, or the problems that we experienced with the Sandy, the tropical storm. In the morning of the storm, we had probably about 2-3 feet of water, enough water that we couldn't drive through to the approach to the plant, and the people actually had to go through the thicket, you know, put their cars upstairs and then through the thicket to get to the plant. And when we got there, we had no power. Luckily, we have a.
No.
Luckily, we have a generator that kicked in, and everything was good. But I looked at how much oil we consumed there, and it looked like we had about a 24-hour outage there. You had, I think, 45 minutes, you said, right? Mm-hmm. We had about 24 hours, and we used 1/4 of the oil that we had, and the tank was full, because I checked it the day before and made sure that we were full. And that means that if we ever have a problem where we have where the grid goes out, or we have a storm that is a little bit larger than the one we just had, and it seems to get worse and worse and worse, after 4 days, or maybe 5, because we have maybe a day's supply in the reservoir, the village in the town is out of water. Because of that, I think it is wise to install a 1,000-gallon tank, and I was interested in your presentation, Graham, about putting in a bigger tank in there. And I have actually planned to put a motion to get it to go out for a bid to get a 1,000-gallon tank installed, and that would be in above ground outside of the building. Where the generator sits right now, putting on the platform. It would look similar to the one in the parking lot of the town, and so on. And I don't know what the cost is, but I suspect it's somewhere between maybe $2,000 and $4,000. Have you gotten an indication what the cost is for your 1,000?
Well, this is a removal of an underground tank.
Oh, you're going to put one up, right?
Yeah, so it's about 20,000 for me,
Oh,
but
for
yours
you.
is a different.
That's a different
animal,
situation. Yeah, okay.
One thing I would suggest too, maybe before we even go that route, what we might want to do is, I think there's probably some type of, the thing to do is call Central Hudson and speak with them, right? But because we are a public water supply,
Yeah.
I think there's probably some type of a priority list for these types of facilities, you know? That if we're without power, that they're gonna restore power to that facility so that it can support the public. So that might be a conversation you may wanna have, so we get a better feel for how much back storage we actually would need to have. You know, I mean, if we have a major storm event with a lot of trees and power down, can Central Hudson tell us, well, no, it's a public water supply, it'll be back on within 48 hours, or no, it might not be back on for 5 days?
Or,
You know?
but if you have a grid outage where the whole grid goes down, everybody's gonna be helpless, right, for this time.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about here with an extra tank that gets us to about 12 days of supply.
Well, you said we used a quarter of a tank, and we were out 24 hours, so
Yeah,
you're only
no,
talking
that's,
4 days.
but we only have 500
500 gallon
tank
tank, yeah.
right now,
Yeah.
okay? And I'm saying that that would give us 4 days, but if we add another 1,000 gallon.
Oh,
tank
another
to it,
1,000 gallon. I thought you were replacing
no,
500
No,
with
no, no, I
1,000.
wasn't gonna replace them, no, I want to put 1,000 gallon in there,
Right.
we have about 12 days
Mhm.
supplied in, okay? But I certainly, if you want to delay making a motion to next month, I'd be happy to do that.
Well, I think we should talk to Central Hudson and find out,
Find out.
you know, because I have no idea. Are we on a priority list?
Except Central Hudson is sometimes very hard to get a hold of.
Well,
The short
they shouldn't be
people.
too hard now.
No.
The storm's over.
So, yeah, okay.
It might, you know, might be a conversation worth having, because it may
No,
dictate what we
I'll
want
do
to do,
Okay,
you know?
all right.
What else you got?
Next thing is flushing of hydrants in the village in Rhinecliff has been completed. During the flushing process, we found one of the hydrants, and it happened to be one right across the street from my house, wasn't working. And that hydrant is only about 7 or 8 years old. It was totally frozen up and was the wrong hydrant also. Apparently, when they put these hydrants in there, that was not the one the village specifies to have. It's a Miller hydrant that we do want. So that was replaced on November 7th, and that is working now. I have tried when I first got involved with the village, I started on the capital improvement plan, and at the time I identified that we need to replace a number of fire hydrants. We identified, Tom Walbank identified at the time about 30 of them. We are down to 28 now that we need to replace, and it has just taken a long time for all kinds of reasons to get these hydrants replaced. So I would like to actually go out for bid for the first 10 of them to have them replaced in one shot, or sequentially, obviously, but by a vendor, and see what it's going to cost us to do that. I had to that end talked to Nancy Clark, and just about 15 minutes before I left the home, I got her proposal back, and in terms of what to do. I asked her what it would cost the village or the water department to manage this particular project, if we were to go out for bid, and for her to handle this whole thing. And she told me, wrote me about $9,200 approximately, okay, for replacing 10 of them. The cost of replacements that we had here in the village for the three of them that we have replaced so far, it runs in around between $5,000 and $6,000 a piece. Okay, so 10 of them would be $50,000 or $60,000, but I think we can probably get that a little bit cheaper if we go out for a bit of 10, and we may recoup some of the engineering dollars to Erdman and Anthony. So,
I guess the first question I would have is, why do we feel a need to go out to bid and do all of them at once? Why couldn't we not have, because we replace hydrants.
yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Why could we not say, all right, we're going to do these 10 and we're going to do one a week or two a week?
Yes, that
stage it
is
that way.
that I had.
To save some money.
I had well, I don't know if we save money or not, but let's assume we do save some money. The problems I had with that is that it just doesn't happen. There's always something that comes in between, one thing or another, and my preamble here to this discussion was, we started that in 2 years ago, and we wanted to start replacing 5 a year. And we had replaced only last year 1, and that's only because the darn thing broke. In the last month or so, or 2 months since I'm on board, we replaced another one.
You carry a bigger stick.
Well, so we replaced another one, and now we replaced the third one, and mainly because this one just seized up. My fear is, and I have sometimes nightmares about this, we have these huge amount of hydrants.
Job?
Well, no, but I want to do something good.
The nightmares, come on now.
I have nightmares about snowstorms.
So my fear is that, we have these hydrants that are large number of them are 100 years old. And some of them don't have shut-off valves in front of them, and we get to the point where we want to replace one, or something happens. We try to shut off the water valves to the upstream and downstream of them, and the valves break. And we had a situation on Knollwood Road where we had 3 of them cascading down the road, where we had to replace 3 water valves because we wanted to replace one. So my point is that I want to do that quickly. I don't want to wait another 10 years, with doing 1 season, 2 seasons.
Again, it comes to funding. If the department has the money in the reserve that can afford to do this, we'll give it a blessing. But if we don't, if we have to be as cost effective as possible, maybe we should look at it. And, we have to say to ourselves, we have to get this done.
Well,
no excuses.
We don't have the reserves, but we have the funding available. The reason we don't have the reserves, one of the reasons we don't have the reserves, because we had to just fix this South Parsonage Street underpass of the water line. But we do have the funding to do that. As a matter of fact, I have already, and I was going to do that next month. I don't want to do too much on each month here, because I got a big list as it is, to talk about how I want to stage our capital plan and how to fund it, because we have things coming up, and I don't want to digress here, but we have a lagoon coming up. We have, in 5 or 6 years, we have to replace pumps, and there's a whole list of things that need to be done. So, anyway.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do we really need to use the engineer to do a bid?
No, we don't need it. We don't need the engineer.
Like what we, in the wastewater, we do our chemical bids every year.
Yeah, we don't need the engineer.
'Cause
What I'm saying is that we have, for a long time, tried to do this for the last 2 years, and we haven't done it, okay? And I want to get somebody else to do it, outside of our own people will be still involved in this thing here, because they have to turn things on and off. But
Well, see, that's where I was going with. We
Yeah.
hire a contractor to do this.
we hire yes.
Our water people work along with them.
Yes,
Right.
but I want to have a contractor, and I want to buy 10 hydrants, and I want to
I
get a
understand
contractor with a cheaper price, but he knows he has to do 10 instead of just 1 season, 2 seasons, So my sense is that we get, the price is going to be the same, including the engineering cost, the overall price, than if we do in 1 season, 2 seasons. But here, at least we can get them done in a year. Get them done, because the contractor cannot do them all at the same time either.
Right.
He has to do them sequentially, and then now, on top of that, we have issues that we have on state highways. We have Route 9 and 308, a large number of them sit on these highways. And so we have to get permits and stuff like that, and have to have people, traffic controls and so on.
We have an annual highway work permit,
Yeah,
and our work falls under that.
yeah,
It's renewable every year.
every year, okay.
But we don't have to get a permit for each hydrant that we're putting in there. It all falls under our annual highway work permit.
Well, that's.
Yeah, we just had, whenever you do it, you're supposed to notify DOT of what you're doing,
Okay. So, that's my case now.
There's no cost to bid this out, right?
Yes,
There is a cost to bid it out?
it's a cost to bid it out, because I want you know, we don't know how long we're around, you know, want to get the job done, need to hire the engineer would
He's
do
gonna have
the
the
impact.
engineer develop a plan
the
for
plan
this.
for it.
Yeah, he doesn't want to do it
And that's why I
internally.
was going the other
Okay,
direction.
all right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And the reason I want the engineer to do the plan is that we have a plan in place to do it every, you know, in 1 year we do the first we do 10, and then we can do the others, we can do ourselves the following years. We still have to do 6 a year in 2014, 15, and 16, you know, to get rid of the bad actors.
I still don't understand why you need an engineer, though, if we're using this contractor, an outside contractor, and our guys are still doing the
Yeah,
work.
see, the thing that's confusing for us, I think, is because we've replaced hydrants before and we've never had an engineer develop a plan. So why can't we just say, look, we have these 10 hydrants, and we want to replace all of them between June and the end of August, all right? And have the contractors give us a price to do this work,
Okay.
and leave the engineering part out of it. Because we know what we have to do.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
know
we have
what
to
we have to do.
dig the thing up, we have to unhook it, and we got to put another one in there and turn the water back
But
on.
if we go out for 10 at ask for 10 at a time, I think we have to have, probably, I think we need to have different documentation for that, right? We need to have performance bonds and all kinds of stuff. to do
That's
that.
got to ask right there.
We do that,
Well, I mean, we just have to bid into the competitive bidding laws, because this is going to be
yeah.
in excess of,
You know, I think this is.
30,000 or
I think it's not as complicated a process as we think. I mean, you know, we replace hydrants without using an engineer, you know?
No, I
We just
know.
go out and dig them up and put them in.
And I,
Yep.
in my short time, I did too. So I know what
Yeah.
it takes, but I also know that it takes a lot of cajoling people to get it done. We through the day, and we have something else coming up there, there's a water line break here, somebody wants to
Well, I
have something
understand that.
sold, you know, and
But
then it
that
just
still,
keeps on
that
and
still
on
doesn't
and
mean
on
we
and
need an
on.
engineer, is what I'm saying. You know, I mean, if we go and we shut the water off on both sides of it, and the valves go bad, well, we got to replace the valves. We have no choice.
But we don't have a dedicated person to do that, so every time we want to do one, we have to, well, okay. So you're saying we could go out and get a bid on your own?
'Cause I mean, basically, we know where the water line is,
Yeah.
and all we're doing is taking the hydrant out, putting another hydrant in there. We don't really have a plan that we have
No,
to
no, I
develop
know
to
that,
pay an
yeah.
engineer for, right?
No, it is mainly to stage the work, to make sure that we have the right kind of procedures in place to do that kind of a job, that size of a job. So, I hear.
You guys think?
I sort of think we don't need an engineer, but that's just my opinion.
I think if you schedule it somehow, but I know what you're saying, things pop up, because that
Yeah.
happens in the highway department too, but if you schedule
It's
maybe
part of doing business.
2 or 3 a month, maybe,
You know, not 2 or 3 a month.
maybe 2 a month.
I mean, I don't want to bring this up, but I'll do anyway. I tried to have the highway department help to do this.
Right.
And it was just one delay after another, you know, and then finally we got one to do it.
Right. And we're not saying that we need to use the highway department. We can hire somebody like Jeff Decker or another excavating company to come in. You know, we've done this before. Dig them up. We have these guys that help us out with repairs all the time and putting in insertion valves and all those types of things. We hire a company like that to do the actual work, and our water department personnel assist them. But it's not like we're designing a brand-new system,
No, we're not, no,
you know?
no, no.
So
This is-
I don't, that's where I say I don't see a need for an engineering firm to do this. Is we say we have 10 hydrants we want to replace, here are the locations, here's the size of the line, here's what the hydrant should be, and they give us a price on what it's going to
Well,
cost
and
to do it.
if we go onesies, I think we probably don't even need the health department involved, right? If we do one at a time.
The health department, you mean? Why?
Hmm?
Why would,
Well, they have to, you know, make sure that the water lines are clean and all this stuff.
Well,
I don't know for a
we replace
hydrant
hydrants
replacement.
before, we don't go through
Yeah,
that
I don't
process,
think
do we?
Yeah, no, not if we do one at a time, but I understand if you do a lot of them, a series of them, then you may have to go after.
So there's a question for the health department, call them up and say, look, this is what we're proposing, you know,
I
how are we
get,
gonna do that?
I get the drift. I'll go back and see if. we
We're just
can-
trying to save as
You
much money as we
you
can.
you are just trying to help me.
just cheap.
You are just trying to help me
We're
here.
gonna run a garden hose.
So there is no cost to bid this out?
What's that?
So there is no cost to bid this out, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Next item has to do with the South Parsons Street water main relocation. We are 2 weeks behind as of now, already on even on a delayed schedule. There were some issues involved with getting parts in time, and then the tropical storm Sandy had some impact on us, and as of Monday, we found some other issues that we are dealing with as far as the soil is concerned, and they are being worked tomorrow. We are continuing working on this project though, and I guess we're getting delivery of parts tomorrow, and they're going to want to start installing the water line under the bridge at least. But what they cannot do at this point is to make connections or even to put insertion valves in there on both ends of the bridge. So we probably going to have some further delays here. Next item has to do, we had a broken hydrant on 6472 Montgomery Street, which is Route 9 up here. A car ran into it, and I talked to Peter Dunn to get, and I think Jim, you had asked him also to get the information on.
Yeah, from the sheriff's office to get the
sheriff's
accident
office,
report.
and he's working on that so we can get reimbursed. We will replace this particular hydrant probably very, very shortly. Now, that is one of the ones that is on the bad list. It's good.
That's
On the
good.
bad list. Violet Hill Reservoir, the wiring and the programming of the auto dialer at the pump house has been completed. I got a quote from Oakwood Fence, and these are the same people who've installed the fence in the water plant to fix a broken gate. It's been broken for about 2 years now. I thought it was a year, but it was actually 2 years. And actually, we got to replace this. This is one of these sliding gates, and we're going to replace it with a cheaper gate that is a folding gate, and for $1,500. And I'm going to tell the people from Oakwood Fence to get going on this thing here. That particular fence is an aluminum welded fence. So it's quite an expensive fence, but you can't fix it. You know, that's broken in 7 or 8 different places. Plus the columns that hold it are broken. So I'm going to go with that. I just wanted to tell you about that. In the coming months, Tom Warbank and I will update the documentation on the reservoir. There is a bunch of work that needs to be done in that field. Pat Kuhn observed that she has an increase of customers who have difficulties paying their water bills, and also there's an increase on the quantity of water that they're using. And so Pat has put together a really very nice piece of work here, and it's called The Potential Causes of High Water Bills. I sent that all to you, you've seen that, and she wants to send that out with the next water bills, and I think it is a worthwhile thing to do. I talked about the security already. One of the things, so I talked before about a two-pronged approach with figuring out the relationship to input water, output water, and the billing. And I have a list of items here of areas that need to be that I need to look at to fill the gaps and fix some of these issues. One of them had to do with the highway garage. And I went to Kathy Kinsella to...
Town highway garage.
The town highway garage, right, thank you. I went to Kathy Kinsella to ask her to put in a meter for this thing, for measuring the water, because we suspect she has a large number of equipment in the garage, and I know in the winter there's a lot of water usage there. So she said yes, she would go and talk to the board about it. The board said, send Heinz. So I went there and talked to the board on the 31st of October. And after a long discussion, we got to the point where they didn't want to pay for the meter, and I told them, so you know, every user has to pay for the meter. That's the village law, and they don't want to pay for the water. And I said, you know, I cannot tell you I'm going to shut it off on you, but I said, we got to have some kind of a idea of how much water we're using. I said, we are not using the water, and I not want to put a meter in there just because I want to charge you for it. I want to know where we're losing all our water and so on. And it finally came around that they said, okay, we can do that, but they want a letter from the mayor, Jim, telling them that they will never, that we will never charge them for the water.
I'm
Now,
not going to write that letter. I have no right to write that letter.
So
They will-
my sense is that, well, I'm going to give the message, but my point was that, well, we can tell them maybe we give them 2 or 3 years, or maybe 5 years, but after that,
I'm not writing a letter to that effect.
okay, so.
They want a letter that we're gonna continue to give them the
Give
water.
water for free, and I said, you know, you're charging us for every stone
Right.
that we get from you and so on, and.
They were gonna charge us to sweep the streets.
So,
There should be some way that we can have some kind of a little,
yeah, and
Give
so
and
I
take,
am
intermunicipal.
I'm at an
Give and take here.
impasse over here. I don't know how to proceed.
How big
I need
is
some
the
guidance.
service line,
A
you know?
2-inch service line.
the water line that comes into
Yeah,
it?
yeah, they probably use a lot.
Do you know how big the pipe is?
I will write a letter.
It's right on the 10-inch main.
I'm sorry? Yeah, it's good, so it comes right up the main.
Is
main
it like
line.
a 1-inch line, or, because a meter's not gonna be very expensive?
They have put in a dry hydrant right off the 10-inch main that passes. right-
Okay.
Frost-free hydrant, you can see it
Yeah.
sticking right out of the ground
Yeah.
there.
Right.
Well, they have two. They have a hydrant there, which they say they don't use. They broke it. Somebody went into it with a truck, and they replaced it just in the last couple of months. But they also have a 2-inch line that is, as Wayne says, is connected right to the main line.
You know, I'll certainly write a letter to them explaining why we were putting this meter in there, all right? But I'm not gonna tell them that we're never gonna charge them. You know? And, I mean, when we use their highway department equipment, they send us a bill.
Yeah, no, I,
So should I say to them,
Yeah.
all right, we won't charge you for water, but you can't charge us for use of your highway equipment? You think they're gonna go for that? No.
No.
So, you know, both can play this game.
well, we can play a game, we can just shut your water off, right?
Yeah.
I don't think we want to do that either.
why can't we all just get along?
I'm not saying I want to charge them for water, but I'm not going to tell them I'm never going to charge them for water. I don't have the right to say that to anybody.
Okay, so,
The water doesn't belong to me.
Would be a very expensive meter, right, if it's a big,
that's
Right,
yeah,
that was
the
my-
meter,
why I was
well,
getting
the meter, Tom thinks it's, we gave him actually an estimate, it was $680, I believe. And some people in the town boards, you know, so much money. I said, yeah, but it's a big
I
pipe that
think
you
it's
have.
important to point out that this is the only water source that's in our district, in our water district, that is not metered. And it's been like that for years. And we researched whether, in fact, there had been ever an agreement. And I went back to Pete Sifferly, and Pat has gone through all the records, and there's no record of ever an agreement made with the town in regard to them utilizing this. It's the opinion of most of the folks that I spoke with that this was done by them. They put this in, they installed it themselves, and they've been utilizing this water for years and years and years and years at no cost. And not only that, it's not only just the town utilizing this water. There has been several instances where state trucks have been down there during the winter months, washing their sanders and salt spreaders with our water. Again, at no charge, so
DEC would probably like that, huh?
this is.
Oh, yeah.
This is a
On the
scenario
screen.
that, you know, in my opinion, needs to be dealt with at some point, in some way. I mean, either some kind of reciprocal agreement with the town, or we charge them. Because it's the only source of water within our district that we do not have any control over.
I'll talk to the town supervisor.
Okay.
What else you got, Heinz?
Couple of more small items. I am also trying to find out where to put a meter on the fire department here and and on the village highway department. Village highway department, we're trying to find out where the water main goes, and we haven't found it yet, but I'm sure we will find it someday, and I will go with Tom Wallbank. We're going to go again here in this building to find out where we can put a water meter in here. The last item is we have on Morton Road, there is a flushing hydrant. Morton Road is sort of a dead end for the water, and there's a lot of turbidity in the water, and Tom fixed it and reprogrammed this hydrant, and I'm going to get some sense of how much water we're losing because of that, of this flushing. Flushing has to be done on a daily basis almost for an hour or so, usually at night. There's nobody around. Okay, and that is all I have.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is the fire department. Everybody get the call report? EMS, we had 25 calls in the town, 28 calls in the village for a total of 53 calls. Fire, there was 13 in the town, 6 in the village, total of 19. Motor vehicle accidents, 4 in the town, 0 in the village. For a total of 4, that's a monthly total of town calls of 42, village calls 34, grand total of 76. Year-to-date, we have a total of 360 calls in the town and 394 calls in the village for a total of 754 calls through the month of October for 2012. For 2011, as a comparison, we had 372 calls in the town and 314 in the village. So at the same date last year, we were 686 for a total, so we were up about 60 some calls for the year, so the volume continues to increase. I know yesterday alone, they had 6. One day earlier in the month, there was 8 calls one day, so they're extremely busy. Rick and some of the officers, and Heinz and I actually sat here last night, and we're talking again about budgetary concerns and equipment replacements, and Rick's going to try and get some stuff down on paper as far as trying to give us an idea what it's going to cost to do some of these things so that we can start making budget lines to put or not make the lines, but put money away for these purchases. For example, all Scott packs. This is all mandated now. The states is now following national guidelines and saying every 15 years you got to replace all your Scott packs. All our Scott packs were bought 7 years ago with a grant, and we're talking $4,000 a piece, and there's 25 of them, so we're talking $100,000 about 7 or 8 years from now, where we're going to have to replace them. We don't have any choice. The state's going to say you do it or you're out of business. Fire turnout gear. All the mandated inspections that have to happen with it. Rick said that they had sent 2 firefighters to a level 1 firefighting class, and when they got there, they had to have their gear inspected, and their gear would not pass the test, so they got sent home from the class. They couldn't take the class. And this was, at the county, and, the standards are just continue to rise, and this, you don't have any choice. It's a mandate, we're talking last night, Nate Planbeck, pretty sharp guy, says, what's this tax cap? What kind of an effect is this going to have on us? And I said, Nate, well, it's quite obvious, this is, as far as I'm concerned, this was just ceremonial, because unless they give us some significant mandate relief, there's no way you can live within that cap. Not when they're telling you got a $100,000 purchase that you have to make, the gear, the way you have to care for it so that it'll pass tests, it has to be clean. Every time these guys go to a fire or something like that, they're subject to carcinogens and toxins and all of that type of thing. So that gear has to then be maintained so that they can turn around and use it again. If an inspector comes here and tests the gear, finds out that it's faulty, you don't respond with that gear, So they're looking, they have to buy a washer and a dryer in order to process all this stuff. You're talking probably $7,000 to $8,000 for a piece of equipment suitable to handle this type of gear. So
Rick's gonna put some things together for us. It wasn't a pretty picture last night, was it?
Not really.
You know, we've got a truck down there that
It's a
is
Vilage.
ready to be replaced, you know? So, the officers are gonna work together and try and come up with some proposals for us, and just give us an idea where we have to be within a certain time frame. You know, so let's establish the price and the timeline, and we'll have to start factoring it in. So. The other item I have for the fire company is there is a new member. Ken Scattergood had sent me this letter. Cassandra Miller has been voted in by them as a new mayor, so we have to approve. She is coming in as an active firefighter EMT. So I'll make a motion to approve Cassandra L. Miller as a member of the Rhinebeck Fire Department. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So voted. That's it for fire department. Street department, what do you got?
There is no formal report this month. Mike's been busy picking up leaves, and that's basically what the report is. They're picking up the leaves and working hard out there, which probably leads us into this temporary hire that we have to talk about, because one of our guys is out with a hernia operation, and indefinitely, we don't know when he's coming back. So therefore, Mike is requesting that we do have to replace this gentleman for the time being. So, how do we go about this?
Make a motion.
I make a motion that we temporarily hire Rich Deneau as a temporary employee of the highway department.
We checked the legalities of this, he can work up to 90 days. We have to cut him off before 90 days.
Is this just
Talked
a
to Rich
labor?
about it, and Rich checked with Stu on it, correct?
Is this a labor or?
Yeah, he's a motor equipment operator, he's got the CDL
Oh, the
license.
CDL, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you know him very well, you know
Yeah.
him well, I guess, okay.
He's worked with the highway department a lot in the past.
He used to work for the village and water department, so. We checked with Jack Rogers to make sure the union wasn't gonna have any problems with this, and Jack said, no, I mean, it's, you know, a short period of time, it's a need that the highway department needs, so there's no problems from the union perspective. So
And when is that gonna start?
he's started. So this is, you know, he's gonna be here for leaf season. As soon as the leaves are done, within another 3 to 4 weeks, he'll be all done. So we got a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted.
I have a question on this then.
Yep.
So 90 days as of tonight, and 90 days as of the day that he
Okay,
started?
they just started.
Howie, I got, for some reason, this in the mail. Is that something that is?
Yeah, I had one of those too. I think
We all
everybody,
get it.
we all got one.
Yeah. That's just to let us know if we want to submit anything for reimbursement. We don't have anything right now. You get that?
Yeah. Okay, I make a motion?
Yeah. John Ramondo's requesting it.
I make a motion, John Ramondo's, okay, wait, let me just go back. Mike Wolf, the head of the highway department, is going to take a few days off next week. So I'd like to make a motion that during that time, John Ramondo would to be in charge and receive out-of-title pay.
Is there a second?
What is the rule on that now? Do you remember, Wayne, in the contract, how many consecutive days to,
Well, we had that issue the one time where it was because it didn't fall 5 consecutive work days in 1 week,
right?
you know?
But this is just a few, I just don't want to set a precedent here if we're not following the,
19, 20, 21, it's for 3 days, right?
I think
As long as
it's,
the weekend's not involved with it, it's not a problem.
19, 20, yeah, 3 days.
I thought it
Yeah,
was
and
supposed to be.
well, the last time we faced that problem
I thought it
too,
was
we said
5
we didn't care that the
consecutive.
weekend was there. If the guy was doing the job, it didn't have to be 5. It was the wording in the contract that was wrong.
Right.
Right, but I thought we were still going to have 5 days.
No,
Yes,
what
but
if-
this is 3 consecutive days, right?
Right.
3,
So it's not a factor.
The problem was the last time, it was 5 days, but it didn't fall all in 1 week.
Right,
It was a weekend in between.
right.
Well, it's a good point. I didn't, you're the union.
Well, I don't have it memorized. I don't have.
Yeah, I know.
That was.
I don't have it with me either.
Contract,
The wording in the
I have it here
contract said
somewhere.
consecutive.
right,
You could look it up.
consecutive work days, it said.
Right.
If there was, in this particular case, it's not an issue, so.
So we don't even have to.
I'm just wondering if the number's 5. I don't have a
The
problem.
guy's doing the untitled job, he's entitled to the pay. What are we gonna say, no?
I don't know now. What do we do? I don't know. We go by the union rules, or
This is
do we?
fine.
No,
This is fine, it's a non-issue.
Oh, okay.
All right, do we have a second?
We did have a second, didn't we? Because we're discussing it.
I'll second.
All right, does anybody have any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Anything else, Howie?
No, that's it.
I had a question about the Foster sidewalk, because we did get a bid for the owner from the private contractor. So we could agree to, and the bid suggested that 90% of the damage was from the tree roots. So we would be an outside party. So, but you had some questions about
Well, I have
DOT,
questions.
but it is, I don't think any of the people on Market Street
Well,
who fix
my
your
big-
sidewalks have contacted DOT.
DOT's not a big problem here. you know.
Right.
If you're doing work in the right-of-way, you are required to notify DOT. So we have a highway work permit, so all we have to do is notify them, let them know we're doing it.
Right, but if we
A
do it,
private property owner, whether they choose to notify DOT or not, that's their thing,
right,
okay? But my question is here, if we're assuming 90% of the cost of repairing the sidewalk because of tree damage, where does that leave us if the property owner goes ahead and does, because they're gonna contract with the contractor, we're gonna have to reimburse the property owner.
Contract is directly with the property owner, so it has nothing to do with the village. We're simply reimbursing for the damage we consider to be our responsibility.
Okay, so
That's why we don't have to worry about the bidding requirements.
do we have to have any type of an agreement signed with the property owner before we enter into this?
I mean, if the village board is gonna authorize the reimbursement, that's all you have to do, and once the work is done.
Okay, and because she's signing the contract, we don't have to worry about any bidding requirements or anything like that, correct?
Right, but one of the
Right,
first
even though we're
problems is
paying
it's gonna be
90% of
between the
it.
municipality, and I checked this one through Nikon.
Okay.
It's clear.
All right,
so her bid is 5130, and I'd like to get a motion that we reimburse to the 90% level suggested by the contractor. The other suggestion was 85%. So it was a range, 85 to 90.
well, you had two different estimates, you mean?
No, it's the same. Anthony
Well, I think we
Capaldi.
should go for the 85%.
Yeah, but
I would be up for that.
yeah, but
That adds up to me.
the landowner agreed to the 90%.
Well, 90% then. How much is, the difference is only,
It's $5,100.
$50 or
and tell Phoebe you looked at it, and it was 85%.
$5,130. I should be recused because
don't have my
it's a
calculator.
customer of mine, so.
so could we
Make a
make a motion? I'd like to make a motion that we reimburse Phoebe's contract to the tune of 90% of the Anthony Capalbo proposal,
All right, so what do you got for a total there?
$5,130.
So we're talking about,
ADC
about
design.
About $4,600 roughly.
Yeah.
All right, we got a motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Any more discussion?
I don't know if this is a customer of mine at my
Yeah, well, you-
place of
you
employment,
recuse
so I
yourself,
recuse
that's no
myself,
problem.
right?
Isn't
No
everybody a
problem.
customer of
Just
yours?
about.
Why are you on the board?
I don't know. I asked, that's what I told you before I ran. He said, don't worry about it. Just recuse yourself every time.
Is there any further discussion?
I actually have to revert back to your hiring of Rich Stephen, because we didn't actually add into the motion that he would go on payroll for those weeks that he's on, that he's working.
Well, he's being hired as a temporary, so he has to
So he
go
goes-
through county personnel.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That's right.
Any more discussion on that sidewalk issue?
Do we have a second?
Yeah, we have a
Second.
second. Terry did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You got, Lisa, you up with us on that, what's going on here with the
Yes.
sidewalk? Okay. Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. When's he
Thank
start,
you.
tomorrow?
He wanted to start at the end of October. I gotta call him back.
Well, I gotta go back to her.
Well, yeah, you gotta go back to her.
Make sure this is okay, because it's been a while.
That's right.
Okay. All right, that's it for streets? Mm-hmm. Oh, Big Belly, before we move on.
Yeah.
Big Belly's on order. Mike formed the thing over there at Savings Bank property today, and what we're hoping is when they pour the walls over here on 14 Center Street on Friday, that we'll go over there with the extra concrete, and we'll pour that slab, and we'll have the Big Belly hopefully up and running for Santa Claus.
That's great.
Okay. Finally, they had some difficulties, I guess, down there with the hurricane.
Did we get the price down a little bit, or?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, actually, it came in at $5,870.
Nice.
Same as
So
the
we're
first
back to what it was with the original. Yeah. So, he said that they've got some new national pricing that went into effect or something, so. All right, so that should be happening pretty quick. All right, planning and zoning.
Everybody should have Bob Pennell's report. I don't really have anything to add to that. If anybody has any questions, let me know. We do need to, well, I do want to bring to the board's attention that our planning and zoning clerk would like to buy out 5 vacation days. Has everyone received that note?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'd like to make a motion for Karen McFarland to buy out 5 of her vacation days.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Terry, just see me after the meeting, all right? We're going to touch base with you on something.
Sure.
Is that it?
Yep.
Okay. Police and court. Everybody has the incident report? Any questions? Things have been busy. Nothing major, but things have been busy. Guys are doing a great job. Wayne, what do you got for us?
Okay. Right, I guess I got to come up with it. As most of you know, the excavation is complete. We have gotten through the trials and tribulations of the shoring process. The Jersey barriers are now in place. Quite frankly, the excavation went much more smoothly than anybody anticipated. We didn't have the integrity of the soil was much better than we anticipated, so the actual south perimeter, we did place the Jersey barriers and worked out fine. There was no actual blemish to the soil, and we didn't have to go through the process of what everybody feared. And actually on the east perimeter, the benching back to the sidewalk worked out well. There was some anticipation that we thought perhaps that we were going to lose the sidewalk. That did not happen. So anyway, the excavation is complete. As you probably have observed, the footings now are poured. And the schedule at this point is to start the forming of the walls on Friday and pour the walls, the foundation walls, on Friday. So things are going well. The submittals for the construction of the exterior walls, are, as you well know, probably they're all going to be panelized. They are all done. They're ready to be sent to the site. The roof is going to be trussed. So I anticipate that the actual structure, we're looking at about 2 weeks, and I would think that we're going to have an enclosed structure because of the panelized walls and the trussed roof. All of the submittals for the structural components have been in, and they have been approved. The windows have been approved, the roof structure has been approved, all the components for the structural part of it are done. So we're moving along nicely, and quite frankly, I think some of the things that we had problems with in the initial phases of the construction have been worked out now, and we're all kind of working together well. We have a project meeting tomorrow at 9 o'clock. If any of the board would like to attend, certainly you're welcome, but I anticipate tomorrow that we'll have a renewed schedule of where we're going to be now that we now have the footings in, and we'll work out some other issues that we have to deal with. I do want to present to the board tonight, we are now in the process, we have come to the point where we are now looking at the exterior colors. I have had some preliminary discussions with the mayor and Pete Dunn in regard to the colors, and I just want the board to kind of put their approval on this. This is the color board of the exterior of the building, which is going to be a blue color. It's a hardy board siding with a charcoal gray roof. The trim will be white, and so I'll just kind of show you guys this. Hopefully, you guys are all being approval of that. Everybody that I've spoken
Very
to
nice,
so
very
far
nice color.
is okay with it.
I've seen it, yeah.
We have some other issues that we're going to be presented with that I'll present to you at the next board meeting next month. And those are some costs that we are going to incur as our village component. And that is going to be the standby generator and the placement of the antenna, the low band antenna, which is now permanently affixed on the trailer. We're going to have to relocate that at some point. And there's also the issue of the LP gas capability. I've talked to our LP gas supplier. What we presently have is 200-gallon gas containers, which are positioned next to the shed in the back of the police trailer, and that services our generator here at the Village Hall. Quite frankly, it's pretty close to being at capacity. If we do have more than a 3-day outage of power here in the Village Hall, we're out of gas. So with the addition of the police station and the additional standby generator that we are going to utilize to power the police station, we don't have the capability in LP gas to facilitate both the Village Hall and the police station. So we're going to have to expand that capability. So I have spoken with our LP gas supplier, and I've also spoken to Gary Keeler, our building inspector, about what our possibilities are here. And it looks like the best way is to put a 500-gallon tank and take away the 200-gallon tanks that we have now and replace it with a 500-gallon tank. And Gary is okay with all of that. We have some issues that we have to do in regard to concrete barriers to protect it, but and we're also going to place a concrete pad to the south side of where the trailer is now, and we're going to put the standby generator on that pad, and we're also going to place the low band antenna, which is now affixed on the trailer, on that same pad. And so I've spoken to Nikon, and they're okay with all that too. So we're in the process of doing all that, and I'm getting some bids in regard to the generator and the expansion of the LP gas tank stuff, and I'll present all that at next month's meeting so that you guys will have you're going to have to prove that, obviously, because there's an expenditure that's not in the contract. Other than that, everything is going pretty well. Like I said, we've had some issues with our general contractor and contract scenarios and things of that sort, but it appears at this point now that things are pretty well running pretty smoothly and everybody's on board. Our prime contractors are now working very closely with our general contractor in regard to putting the sleeves in the foundation wall and things of that sort. So once we get the foundation walls up and the sleeves are in regard to utilities and drainage and things of that sort, which have all been presented to the general contractor, I think things will go pretty smoothly at that point. So I'm pretty happy with the way things are finally progressing. And it's been a tough road, but I think we're we're on track now to continue to progress in a pretty positive manner.
Okay.
Wayne,
Sir,
on the generator, we have a generator right in front of this building here somewhere, right?
that's correct.
It's not enough to drive this one also?
No. And that was one of the things that we talked about, the possibility of utilizing the existing generator. Actually, several scenarios came into play here. One, could it service the police station, which we found out could not. The other situation that we looked into was the possibility of renovating or regenerating it or adding on to it, the capability of it in order to do, but it was not
Bigger one.
cost effective.
You mean a bigger one?
Right, and it just wasn't cost effective to do it. So,
So the capacity of this one here is at its limit?
yeah, for this building,
For this building?
yes.
The second thing is backfill on the south side here, where you put your concrete.
Yes.
Your Jersey things there. When you, once you have the walls up, and you backfill in there,
Yes.
are you gonna compact this?
Yes, yeah, our engineers have designed a very specific scenario in regard to how this is gonna happen. The Jersey Bears are gonna stay,
Oh, okay.
because quite frankly, due to the location of where they are to the property line, it would just have been economically unfeasible for us to take them out of there. We would have had to bring a crane in here, a very large crane, to get them out. So the agreement between everybody was that the Jersey Bears will stay just because of the,
Now, they're only about 4 feet high or something like that? Or-
there's actually 2 layers of them.
Okay.
So they're going to stay. And the backfill process will be so much easier as a result of them staying there, as opposed to trying to get them out of there.
Makes sense, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
The windows here that I see, are these are not ordinary windows, are they?
No, they're actually aesthetically pleasing, and that was as a result of the planning board's input. We wanted to keep the windows aesthetically pleasing to the surroundings. And we actually had specified Marvin windows, but the general contractor proposed Pella windows, and our architect and our engineers have approved the Pella window as a adequate substitute. So,
Are these reinforced in
It's
some way?
bulletproof glass.
yeah. Yeah, the mutton bars,
That's code
they're
required.
internal mutton bars that they're designed so that keeps the characteristics of the surrounding community intact. And, we're very cognizant of trying to keep that.
What do they look like, though, when you look at them? Are they transparent?
Oh, yeah,
You can look right through them?
yeah, yeah.
And it looks like there's separate panes of glass.
Right,
Each
the mutton
section,
bars
yeah.
are individual mutton bars.
Instead of having
It's got
this,
those things.
but it's even more so, like
Yeah.
even, yeah.
They're well more defined than that.
Right.
Yeah.
Wayne, can you just refresh my memory? I can't remember what we decided to do about signage for the police department. Is there a sign somewhere that says, that identifies it as a police department?
Yeah, the signage is in the specifications. If you look at the project manual, we have it, Lisa's got it down in the office down there. With all the signage is very specific.
I mean, is there something on the building?
No, there's nothing on the building, but
Okay.
there is a small sign that's out
Out front?
on the ramp
Okay,
coming down
okay,
on the Village Hall side of the ramp
okay,
that specifically stipulates that it's a police station.
okay.
I mean, it's succinct and it's,
The neon flashing one's going on the roof.
yeah.
It's just I couldn't remember.
So I will keep you guys abreast of how we progress. I've been emailing Brant and Jim in regard to some of the issues that we've
He's
faced.
getting ready to change his phone number.
Yeah, but I'm quite frankly, I think we really are over the hump.
Yeah.
And we're going forward now nicely, and things are progressing. I don't know if you guys had the opportunity to see what happened today, but these guys worked all day in the rain today to form this thing and get it poured. I mean, we're in a situation now where these guys are real focused on moving forward, and I'm real confident that
How many man crew did they have performing today?
There was 11, oh, excuse me, there was 11 people working
11
there.
guys?
A lot of people there.
I was talking to Bob yesterday, I said, they must be bringing some big crew in here if they're gonna have that thing formed by 11 and pour at
Yeah.
11:30.
Yeah, the other significant thing that's happened, I think, within the last couple of days, which kind of was pretty cool to me, is that I've been working with Herb Lasher, who has been the excavation superintendent for the last, wow, 2 or 3 weeks, and Bob Berry, who is going to be the superintendent of the project, has been on the site for the last 3 days, and it's just been amazing to me how much has happened since he's been here. He's a really great guy. He's very communicative, and I'm really confident that now that he's here and he's actually going forward with this process, the excavation is behind us now, and that seemed to be the thing that kind of held us up a lot. So now that the excavation is over and we're actually into the building process, I think this Bob Berry guy is really going to be a guy that's going to put this thing forward quickly. So I'm really impressed with him, and I'm impressed with some of the things that have happened in the last 2 or 3 days. So I think we're going to go forward real quickly. So,
Good deal. Thanks, Wayne.
okay.
You wanna take this with you?
Yes, sir. You okay? Everybody's okay with this? Because we're going to go forward with this.
Is that siding paintable in the future?
It is
Just a
paintable,
question.
but it's got a 25-year guarantee. So, I mean, we could paint it in the future, but
You're not gonna be here.
No, I just wanted, I might
You
be.
volunteering to paint it, save us money. Okay. Next item on the agenda is the dog report. This is the one for September. Roger says he hasn't picked up any dogs this month. Some have been off leash in the village, but when asked, people are good about controlling their dogs. With all the dogs in the village, most people are very, very good about cleaning up after their pets, et cetera, too,
Why do we need the draft here?
because we have a leash law. Next item, tree commission. Howie?
Okay. Again, I don't have a formal report, as our head of the tree commission is recovering from a operation. She's doing fine now, Cecily Frazier. But during the last month, we did approve the takedown of some trees. I don't know how we can do this. I know you guys didn't get a report. There's 3 trees on the Ray Polites property on Platt Avenue. And then there's 1 tree at the corner of Beach and Livingston that the tree commission
So the
approved.
tree commission is making the
Yeah.
recommendation to remove these trees?
Yes.
Make a motion.
I make a motion that we remove the 3 trees on Ray Polites property on Platt Avenue. And by the way, those are near Central Hudson line, so we're going to try to get Central Hudson to take them down. That's on the corner of Platt and Mulberry. And there's, on the corner of Beach and Livingston, there's also 1 tree.
I think what we need though, Howie, we should have, specifically, we should have addresses for those properties.
Right. Want to wait till next month?
Yeah, we don't know
Okay.
if Central Hudson's taking them down yet.
No, we don't know.
Or whether we have to
No.
take them down.
No, we don't know.
So what we ought to do is have prices too, so that we can just approve to take the tree down
Okay.
with a price, you know?
Mhm.
I thought this was something that we knew Central Hudson was gonna do. Okay?
Okay, and I'd like to report that we had our fall tree planting, and we planted 24 trees with over 20 volunteers, and I'd like to thank Daytop for bringing 5 strong men. They're always the hardest workers there. And we planted trees from about 9 in the morning to about 1 o'clock. And I'd like to thank everybody who was involved, and look forward to our spring tree planting, usually around Arbor Day.
You want this, here's that letter that Cecily had written. Did you see this? To Daytop.
No, I didn't see this.
I got that in the mail the other day.
Oh, okay. You want me to read it?
Well, you don't have to read the whole thing, but
Okay, this is from Cecily Frazier, the chairwoman of the Rhinebeck Village Tree Commission, to Daytop. On behalf of members of the Rhinebeck Village Tree Commission, really all those who will eventually enjoy and benefit from these beautiful trees, I want to thank you for allowing several young men to help us plant last Saturday, November 3rd. These gentlemen were a tremendous help in accomplishing our ambitious plan to put in 24 trees on the south side of Rhinebeck Village. It was a cold, somewhat wintry day, I know, but we worked hard all morning. Unfortunately, we do not have their names, but I hope you will thank them, each of them, on our behalf. This is our 10th tree planting, and I believe that Daytop has supported us every time. It is absolutely true that it would be very difficult to complete this work without the help of you and your residents. You and they have our sincere thanks and deep gratitude for your support this year and all the years of the tree plantings. Again, sincerely, Cecily Frazier, the chairwoman of the Rhinebeck Village Tree Commission. Thank you.
Yep. That's it, Howard?
That's it.
All right. This just came today. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah, I got that here somewhere, too. Yeah,
Okay.
copy of it.
All right.
Emerald Ash Borer.
We'll pass that along to them then.
Yeah, yes.
Website, anybody got anything? Everything seems to be running smoothly. Fred's got the meetings are on there now, you can view them, so that's working well. Finance and controls, Brant.
Well, members want the committee to go dormant in case, wait for an assignment but not be active, because the last thing we were gonna work on was internal controls. The state controller is in now looking at doing the pre-audit, so they were gonna do what we were gonna summarize in a memo. Obviously, have a lot more expertise than we do, so, it's the feeling of the group that we just go dormant.
Let them drive the bus, huh?
Yeah. And I spoke to the representatives of the controller, and they're going through everything, and I'm looking forward to seeing what results they come up with. I think they're going to be pleasantly surprised about some things, and I'm sure they're going to have recommendations also.
Yeah, well, I spoke with them last week, and I said, this is the first time that any of us that are on the board have had to go through this process, and I said, Lisa, of course, is new in her job, and, we're welcoming the review because we want to make sure we're doing everything the way it should be, so. Right now, it's what they call a risk assessment, and they come in and look at, our bookkeeping and cash handling and all those types of things, and what she related to me is based on what they see from this risk assessment, that could trigger an audit, but not necessarily that it does. They just might make some recommendations to us, so we'll see how the whole thing plays out. They were here today, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
She said they're going to be here until Thanksgiving, or?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This week, next week, they'll talk with all the departments.
Do we have to give them Thanksgiving dinner?
I don't know.
She asked me if I had any concerns. I said, no, concerns? Are you kidding?
Yep.
Everything's great. No. So we'll see. So I would like a motion that or do I even need to make a motion that we make the committee dormant, or should?
No, I mean, just the
Action
committee
Just-
is needed, right?
Yeah, we'll act as needed, if you guys have an assignment for us.
Yep.
I guess you just want to have the item taken off the agenda.
We can do that, yeah.
Mr. Mayor.
Next month, yeah.
Well, we can leave it on there just in case anything ever does appear, but we can just pass over it, I'll just ask, is there anything from finance and controls?
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, other business. We have to make an amendment to the budget to include the line items for the police station. We got the $900,000 bond, so now we have to having a way to account for the expenditures to all the different contractors and vendors that are involved with the police station project. You got, do I have to read anything here?
No, I mean, just the board.
This is
would adopt it
basically,
in
this is
form.
just a bookkeeping matter,
You're
right?
setting up line items within the
Yep.
budget.
So we're not even passing a resolution, correct?
You can just adopt this as written by the clerk, it's fine.
All right. Lisa has prepared something here that is going to detail, actually, let me have that, Lisa, just so I can briefly summarize this. And basically what it is that there's a capital fund project, and there will be a number for the bond that we will assign, and that will be the $900,000 entry for the bond. And then for appropriations, there'll be contract construction, contract electrical, contract plumbing, contract HVAC, architecture, engineering, soil testing, and miscellaneous. And there could be before this whole thing is over, we may identify another line item or something. We can always add them in later. So basically, that's all this is. So I have to ask for a roll call vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So voted.
Have we paid, excuse me, have we paid anything from this
Yeah.
$900,000?
This will be the first month.
First time.
So all we're gonna do is, what was sunk so far comes from whatever source we had, fund balance, whatever, and moving forward, we're gonna use the bond money, is that what we've decided?
Right.
That's what I think we should do, but,
So the stuff that we signed today is going to come from the general fund or from?
No, everything that's going to be, all the vouchers that you're approving today will be
so we should come
coming
on that.
out of the bond fund. So moving forward, anything that takes, that is associated with the police station will come out of the new line items.
Okay.
Wayne?
I neglected to bring up one important issue, I apologize. One of the issues that we need to address is insurance. It's a normal scenario here when, obviously, we're building a new structure that we need to insure it. I have had some conversations with Kathy Dugan at Fairleigh Rakow, who handles our insurance for the village. And normal scenario is that you take out a builder's risk policy, and that builder's risk policy covers your liability, and in the event something should happen to the building as it's being erected, you're covered. So we need to address that. She has talked to Titan Insurance Company, who is the carrier that handles our policy for the entire village and all of our buildings and our liability. And they do not provide a policy for a builder's risk. However, she did look into other scenarios, and Zurich Insurance Company does provide this, and she did get some information from them. She hasn't gotten any quotations yet, but because of where we were in the construction process and we didn't actually have a building, I told her to hold off. But it's something we need to address, and I would like, if it's okay for with the board, I would like to contact her now that we are going to have some construction probably in the next week and a half ago or so. We should enter into an agreement with a builder's risk policy. Basically, what that is that it gives us a liability policy, and it also gives us a progressive policy in regard to how the construction, as it progresses, obviously the liability goes up. Okay, so they monitor the construction process, and as the construction process goes forward, then the risk and the cost, our liability continues to grow, and that's how it works. So with the board's approval, I would like to have her proceed with binding that policy within the next week or so. And I'll obviously give all the information to you as I get it, but.
So this is a temporary thing, like 6 months or something?
During
like
construction period until it becomes a full,
that? Occupied.
Right,
And then it'll be added to our regular policy.
and
correct,
it should go through the clerk.
right.
Well, I guess we need to do it right away then, as soon as, because you technically don't have the authority to bind us, right? Or can we give you the authority now?
I don't know
It
how
should
to
go through Lisa's office.
Okay.
She should contact them.
So I should contact Kathy and
Yeah, I'll be in touch with Kathy. I have already given her the preliminary information in regard to the square footage and the cost of the construction. So she has already contacted Zurich and given them the preliminary information in regard to but she didn't get a price. So that would be the next step, obviously. And then, again, they would bind us for a liability scenario. I've also explained to her, and she's going to need some information in regard to the prime contractors, because under the contract stipulations, we have $1 million umbrella from all the prime contractors that names us. So that becomes a factor from a liability standpoint. So she needs that information to give to Zurich, and that'll obviously be a factor in regard to the cost. So I just need to give her that information, and then I'll have her get with you and then But I think it's pertinent that we do that.
No, definitely.
So,
If we need to, we just call a special meeting. We just get 3 people here, and we can vote to approve the expenditure of the dollars, right?
Right, it's, I mean, it's professional and it's required to ensure the village.
Yep.
okay, so
All right.
with the board's approval, I'll go forward with
Yeah.
it and get the process rolling, and then I'll just have Kathy get in touch with Lisa, and we'll
Yep.
go from there.
Sounds good.
Okay?
Thanks, Wayne. Okay, next item is, we have to pass the resolution for the spring elections. So I'm going to read this. The next village election for the offices of the Village of Rhinebeck will be held on Tuesday, March 19th, 2013, and the Village Board of Trustees must designate by resolution and publish the offices which are to be filled in each election district and terms thereof. Now therefore be it resolved, Section 1, that the Board of Trustees designates the following offices as vacant at the end of the current official year to be filled at the village election to be held Tuesday, March 19th, 2013 for the following terms. Mayor, 2-year term, first Monday in April 2013 through noon of the first Monday in April 2015. Trustee, 2-year term, first Monday in April 2013 through noon of the first Monday in April 2015. And trustee, 2-year term, first Monday in April 2013 through noon of the first Monday in April 2015. The village clerk treasurer is hereby directed to publish this resolution in full in the Daily Freeman and the Poughkeepsie Journal. I will make a motion to approve that. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, how does this, Terry Gibson? sounds as
This
if-
resolution's separate from that, so we have to approve this, and then I'm going to address the process for the rest of it going forward. Okay? All right, so we have a motion and a second for this resolution. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So voted. Okay, so where we are as far as the seats,
My seat, Howie's seat, and Wayne, or Heinz's seat, filling out Wayne's term. Those are the 3 that are on this resolution. All right? Terry, of course, is in a position where he's probably going to be the next senator for us, for Rhinebeck. The absentee ballots are being counted. Terry said they were counted Putnam County today. So what happens, and this is by law, we've already checked into this, is Terry would vacate his seat if he is elected the senator. He would be sworn in, and I would assume it would be very early in January.
Yep.
So probably would resign as of December 31st as a village trustee. At that point, the mayor appoints somebody to fill or not fill that seat. But by law, that seat becomes eligible for special election in this village election in March. So there would be 4 seats on the ballot, given that Terry wins the Senate seat. I've talked to several of the board members about this. I am very uncomfortable with appointing somebody to a seat that could only be for 3 months. And have this person come in and spend 3 months working as a village trustee. If they elect to run for the office, they could be beaten. So right now, I'm kind of leaning to leaving the seat open for 3 months. If Terry wins January, February, and March, we don't have a person in that trustee's position. In the meantime, Brant and I talked a little bit about it. I haven't really talked to the other trustees about it yet, but I certainly would be willing to help out with planning and zoning. Brant said he'd certainly be willing to help out with planning and zoning. I just don't know if it's fair to expect somebody to take a seat for 3 months and then run in an election and perhaps not even be able to continue. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. You know, if anybody can make a good argument for me to lean one way or the other, I'm certainly willing to listen.
I agree with you.
You know, I think it's tough for somebody to say, all right, I'm going to take this on and run in the spring, and I don't know. I think it's much easier for somebody just to make their mind up, okay, I want to run for public office and this seat is open.
So let me ask a question, the seat that's being vacated, the special election, is it for a 1-year term or a 2-year term? Because he would have,
It would be the remainder of his term.
oh, so it'd be for 1 year.
Yeah,
So,
remainder of his term.
and that could be interesting because, assuming for the sake of discussion, the 3 of you run for your 2-year seats, then there's going to be one person saying, I'm running for the special term. I'm running in the special election. for the one-year term, one-year term.
Yeah.
By law, it's to fill the unexpired portion of the term.
Right.
So, basically, that's where we're at.
Wayne, are you gonna tell us now you're moving back into the village?
The first thing I said to him, after I saw him after the election, I said, so, when you move back to the village?
Or no?
All right, so that's where we are as far as elections and seats and all that. You know, I just would like to recognize Terry, congratulate him. You know, he spent a lot of time. He's been out there for a year and a half, and I said to him on the phone that, you know, he did as well as he did because he went out and worked hard for it. And, you know, my hat's off to you for what you did, you know.
Thanks.
It's a big commitment, you know. It's an even bigger commitment coming down the road.
Yes, it is.
So, congratulations. Good luck to you.
Thanks. I'll withhold making my concession speech just yet.
Yeah, well-
We'll talk again in December.
Yeah. Yeah. I
But
just,
thank
you know, I mean, if the thing turns out where you don't win, congratulations anyway.
Thank you.
'Cause you did one heck of a job. know.
Thank you very much.
I'm proud to be affiliated with you, you know. And I know I speak for everybody that's on this board now, and I know I speak for Wayne, that you've been a tremendous asset to everybody on this board. And we're going to hate to lose you, but it's also good to know that we'd have a senator in Rhinebeck if you do win, so.
Well, I
Good
always
luck.
thought it would be better to have a senator from Rhinebeck than a trustee from Rhinebeck, so
Okay,
thank you very much.
you're welcome. All right, voucher amendment. We neglected in the August 14th, 2012 board minutes and the September 11th, this says 2011, but it is 2012, right, Lisa?
Yes, it is.
2012 board minutes, we forgot to put the vouchers on there, and that's required. So we need to, I'm going to make a motion to amend the minutes of the August 14th, 2012, and September 11th, 2012 board minutes to include the vouchers that are listed here. I'm not going to bother, I don't have to read the whole thing, do I? So I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
I have to abstain, I suppose.
You weren't here, were you?
Wasn't it?
Oh, August you weren't. September you weren't.
August, July.
Yeah,
Yeah.
September 11th.
Yeah.
That's when I got sworn in, but I had
Oh,
no prior
okay.
knowledge of it.
All right. Okay. So we got a for and an abstention. All right. Anybody have any other business? Correspondence. Howie, these are just follow-ups, the first couple, I think, here. The one from the sidewalk over there on Livingston Street, the tree damage.
Right.
Tree commission was going to take a look. Did
Right.
anything ever happen with that?
No, to be honest with you, no.
All right. Can you follow through on
Yeah.
that for me, please? And then what about the one up there on Montgomery Street? That was at 6455 Montgomery Street. I had looked at it.
Yeah, you and I looked at it, and,
Yeah. Terry, did you go look at that one?
I have not yet, I'm sorry. No.
All right. So we haven't responded to these folks yet?
I don't know.
Either of them?
No.
All right. I think that's important that we respond to them.
Does the tree commission respond to them, or the?
No, the village board.
Oh, okay.
This is to the village board.
Right.
So I think we should follow up with both of them and make them aware that we're going to look into this, all right? That we're not ignoring them, all right? I know, you and I have looked at the one, Brant, have you looked at the one on Montgomery Street?
No, I meant to, and I hit in my notes and I didn't.
What's the
Why don't
address?
you two guys go look at it?
What's the
It's,
address?
6455 Montgomery Street. All right, the tree commission was supposed to be looking at this one.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, next item for correspondence, Rhinebeck Farmers Market had sent a letter to us requesting, placing their banners for the winter market, exactly the same banners that they had last year. 4 of them, you know, on the 4 quadrants entering the village. So we need a motion to approve, I would ask for a motion to approve that.
Second?
I'm asking for a motion.
Oh, I make a motion.
Okay, good. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
I like them. I think they're nice, really
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Aye.
And these are, they'll run through the winter till the spring market starts, and then they'll come down. Okay.
So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? So voted. I guess everybody's probably aware of what's been going on at the county level as far as sales tax. And the implication for the village of Rhinebeck is that we are going to receive about $18,000 less in sales tax revenue this year when this budget goes through. So again, here's the effect of the mandates trickling down. Less revenue coming in for us. And all mandated stuff that we really don't have anything to say about.
Well, it's discouraging because we're such a tourism draw. We bring a lot of money in for the entire region.
Yep.
But
We have another letter from the Church of Messiah on the 26th about trees.
Yeah, the
Did
tree
you see that
commission's
one?
gonna be looking at that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. And we have one here. This came from Marilyn Hatch, and Marilyn is involved with the Rhinebeck Historical Society. And it says here, last winter, a student intern from Albany and myself, in cooperation with the New York State Historic Preservation Office, updated the Village of Rhinebeck Historic District. This project was sponsored by the Consortium of Rhinebeck Historic Organizations. This organization also staffs the local history room at the Star Library and is made up of 10 organizations which hold Rhinebeck's historical documents and artifacts. As we were updating the historic district, we were very pleased that many of the homeowners have restored the front facades of their homes. The consortium would like to recognize these homeowners at a gathering held at the Village Hall on a Sunday afternoon sometime in January or February. We would love to have the village trustees and the members of the Planning and Zoning Board invited to also attend. We hope to have a slide program, refreshments, and a few speakers. She's asking if the village board would be receptive to this program and maybe set a possible date. And if there are any questions, feel free to contact me. Marilyn Hatch. What say ye?
we just have to make the village hall available for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's nice.
Sounds good?
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to suggest a date, or do we want to leave that up to them? I mean, they have to organize more people than us, you know?
Sunday afternoon, sometime in January or February.
Leave it up to them to
Yeah.
Yeah.
give us a date.
All right, Lisa, could you reply, you have a copy of this, right? Can you
Yep.
reply to her and
Yep.
say, you know, we're going to leave it up to them to establish the date and the time? And, you know, the hall up here will be available,
All right.
okay? And then, of course, what we want to do is just make sure we check the calendar and see if the fire department's got anything going on or whatever, you know? Okay. The landmark dividend, we got a letter from them. Did you ever?
Yeah, I've been meaning to talk to Lisa about it. It's not something we're really gonna be, I can
We're
tell
not
you
interested in
that.
it?
Yeah, we're not gonna be interested in that.
All right. Okay, I've got another one here from, this was dated today. This gentleman, he sent it to the village clerk, but it says to the town board. And my name is Francisco Monroy Jimenez, current concert band president at Rhinebeck High School. Other band officers and I are planning to organize a fundraising event that, if permitted, will take place on November 18th, Sunday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. during the Santa Claus Festival. We hope to place our post on Market Street near the four-way intersection if you find that there are big problems with this location. We are capable to find another. Another option is on Market Street near the four-way intersection across the firefighters. I guess they're talking about right out here. I asked for your approval and consideration. Apparently what they were looking to do is a coin drop. It doesn't say that here. Lisa, I guess, you tried contacting him to get more information and were unable to?
Yeah, his voicemail was full and I didn't get a response from
But
the
also
email.
the dates are not right there, right? Santa Claus is
Well,
much later.
Lisa said that they're having a crafts fair or something over at the town hall
Benefits crash
related
there.
to Santa Claus, so this is, I think, what he's referencing. Yeah, because Santa Claus is December 1st. But, I mean, we just don't have enough information here. I don't really see how we can approve this. I haven't had a chance to talk to Pete about it, you know? So, unfortunately, there was a last-minute request at 4:18 this afternoon. All right, that's it for correspondence. Do you have anything else, Lisa? No?
No, that's everything.
All right, we have some water and sewer adjustments.
Yeah, last time I had new, I thought I had new news, but what really was a number of adjustments in the bookkeeping, which really, I don't really want to talk to, or should talk to. There were 3 adjustments that were made in the September timeframe. One of them was $750 from a person who had sent a check and didn't sign it. That was the first time it ever happened, and so we forgave the penalty. The other one was a lady who rents at the Garden Street, and
Good night, Jack, thank you.
and she didn't get the bill, but the landlord got the bill. The landlord lives, I think, in Albany someplace, and never forwarded to her, and that was the first time it was an issue, so I forgave it to them. Also, the other one was a reading error, when I dropped the zero. Something that was actually much more than they had in there. The rest of them are just Germans back and forth. And for October, there's only one, $3.60, and somebody died. And so if we give that. I have a little suggestion. I talked to Pat about this. This is a kind of an unwieldy looking piece
Do you
of
want to
paper.
approve this first?
I want to improve this. I'm sorry? Yeah, I want to
Yeah,
approve
so
this.
make a
yeah.
motion, we'll approve.
And I have
this.
one for $9.50 for the same
For the same person.
customer.
Okay. So I want to make a motion to approve the September and October adjustments for the water department.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? So voted. All right, go ahead.
You want to do you have to do this for the sewer?
$9.50, so I think we did.
Now, this is a very cumbersome-looking piece of paper, okay? I'd like to simplify it, just have the adjustments in there where we actually make changes to the
I
customers.
can't believe you haven't done it yet.
It's because I have 4 other people I have to get agreement with. So I want to change this. There's no reason to say, well, we took $25 out of here and put it in that bucket and so on. So I want to keep the water usage amount in there, what we get in penalties and so on. These numbers I want there, but on a summary.
Simplify it.
On a simple summary, and then the adjustments simplify, okay? So it's going to be just a really small page.
Go for it, Heinz. Simple is good.
That's right, that's the only thing I understand.
That's why you understand me so well. Okay, minutes. Just some minor typos that I noticed. Second page, Water Department. Trustee Sauer motion to award the bid to Oakwood Fencing for $7,500 of installation of chain link, cross out ED. And then going over to the third page, under zoning and planning, it says, request for 3 zoning changes. It says, the item width, the buffer zone at the fairgrounds, and what it actually should say is the issue of rezoning the fairgrounds is getting close. It didn't have to do specifically with the buffer zone. What it was is the rezoning rewrite that we're proposing. We're getting close to finalizing that. And in that regard, actually, last night, we pretty much wrapped up. And they're in the process of finalizing the documentation now. So that's all going to be coming to us probably next month sometime. Along that line, the Events Code Committee, I got an email from John Worth today. They pretty much wrapped up last night. So he's going to finalize that document and says he should have it done by the end of the month. So both of these are going to kind of come together at the same time. So I think once we have those documents available, then the board's going to have a chance to see it. And what my thought process was, is scratch December because of the holidays. There's just too much going on that month. Try and set up a workshop meeting in January. And, of course, publicize it well in advance so people have a chance to get the document and look at it, and they can come to a workshop meeting and participate in a question and answer session, give their feedback or whatever, prior to going to a public hearing. So I'm looking at, okay, depending upon how the workshop goes, do we need the second workshop, or can we go to a public hearing? So maybe public hearing February, maybe public hearing March, but hopefully by springtime, this whole thing will be wrapped up.
So, that's kind of where we are. All right. So, then on the fourth page, when we go to Halloween Parade, and it says, last sentence, or next to last sentence, he asked for another board member to take, it should be his place,
Yeah.
and that's all I got. So with those changes, I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? So voted. Vouchers are downstairs, right, to be signed? And unless anybody else has
I
any
have
other?
no,
No, too bad.
I called him twice.
no, I have the voucher sign, I signed my vouchers, except
Yeah.
I didn't sign the other one, and that had to do with the one that goes to S&P, 5,000.
S&P.
S&P is Standard & Poor's, they wanted $5,000 for for evaluating the village
Credit?
credit, and
And they want us to pay us pay them
$5,000.
$5,000 to do that?
To do that, so
You talking about Moody's?
Moody's, I'm
8,000.
I'm sorry, it was 8,000. Oh,
Yes,
8,000,
Moody's.
yeah, and I thought this was just, first of all,
What are they smoking?
right, thank you. The second thing is there's no detailed bill there for it. Moody's and these rating agents, they're all getting sued by a lot of people for doing a bad job to begin with, and I don't understand. When I called Moody's about 6 or 8 months ago, I asked him about, our credit rating, and what would be the effect if, some other agency would go down, like the county, okay? And they said it would have no effect on us and so on. And there seemed to be no reason why there should be a change in the credit rating at the time. But now they want $8,000, just $8,000 for affirming your credit rating. The least I would like to see is a detailed bill, what makes up the $8,000.
Tell them, come talk to us.
Right, and the other thing is, well, the other person wanted $7,500. He's the one who, Munisat, they are the ones that actually did the work, right, to get the bond approved and so on. So I'm okay with that, but I was not okay with S&P paying them $8,000.
Or
I
Moody's,
didn't-
you mean? Moody's. you mean.
Moody's, I mean, yeah. So I did not sign that.
Okay,
So
thanks for sharing that.
We're gonna call them tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good.
I just have one other short thing here.
What do you got?
Brant and I met with Paul Matthews.
Oh, yeah.
A couple weeks ago over on Chestnut Street.
And he's gonna get back to us with an estimate, right?
Yeah, he said what he would suggest is doing a 36-inch pipe that whole route.
So go from Crossmore, or just go from Chestnut
So
south?
from Chestnut, including underneath Chestnut,
Yeah.
south all the way, and then,
So through Gottschalk's yard and over
Right.
to Star Drive, and then...
and leave Star alone, just underneath Star.
Don't cross Star Drive?
Right,
Or do cross Star Drive?
no. Leave what is leave the culvert pipe there,
that's a
under
big
Star.
one. That's a huge.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah, it's a
huge
huge one.
one. And then restart the 36-inch pipe
Okay, so
for that
basically...
last segment.
Yeah, so basically you're saying from underneath Chestnut Street, start there,
Mm-hmm,
and then go through Gottschalk's and Walker's yard,
mm-hmm.
and then
Stop.
stop there, and then go to the other side, and start
Start
there,
again.
and go down, and then
It's
dump
like
it into the
150
empty
feet
ditch,
or yeah,
into
then
the
the
empty
empty
ditch
ditch-
where our property is.
yeah, and it's steep and
Yeah,
let it go in there.
okay,
That's his suggestion, so.
all right.
Last time I talked to Mike, I asked him to take a look at the thing that goes underneath 308, and he thought that that needed to be cleaned. So
Yeah.
if
That's
you
what
do.
That's what Paul Matthews said too.
Yeah, it should be
Yeah,
clean.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it looks
Because-
pretty,
The pipe underneath 308?
well, it's not really a pipe, it's a cement opening, right? It's,
Oh,
No, it's a
there's
pipe.
Three-
It's a pipe.
But there's grates, you could see,
It's got
there's
cement head walls.
sunlight
Yeah.
peeking through
You're right.
in a couple of
Yes.
spots.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
because
if you
that's
go over,
great.
if you're going over into Richie's parking lot, there's a storm drain right there.
Yeah.
Right, you could see
Yeah.
that, yeah,
Yeah.
so in there,
Yeah.
in that area, yeah.
Yeah, but there's a big
Underneath
pipe
those.
there. It's got
Yeah.
concrete head walls on it.
right.
Uh,
Paul feels that's big enough to handle the flow.
Yeah.
Well, that's
We
my
don't
only
have to do it.
question, is if we're increasing the flow down to 308, is 308 big enough to handle it? That's all
He
I'm
thought it was.
worried about. We
Yeah.
don't want problems with the state, you know?
Yeah,
So let's get the estimate, see what details.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah, right. Oh, and a new catch basin,
Yeah, that was what I was gonna ask you.
just south of Chestnut, right there, it's a homemade catch basin,
Yeah,
so we
that,
need,
that needs to be
we need to
replaced.
put a real catch basin.
Just south of Chestnut.
South of and adjacent to Chestnut.
The
So
south-
Gottschalk side.
You're talking
Yeah.
about the south side of Chestnut, yeah.
Okay.
The one other thing was that there's a lot of drainage coming down Chestnut, and that flows into
Good.
into the driveways. So that, I
Those
think it
people can
needs to be
start doing
banked.
their own lot grading and correct some
Yeah.
things too,
Yeah.
but,
The fact that a driveway runs down into their house, that's not our issue. But the pipes going underneath the road, and the problems that causes, that is.
and that's plastic pipe, with the smooth inside.
Yeah.
It's corrugated, it's like
Yeah.
corrugated now, and it slows things, it's just the wrong stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, motion to adjourn?
Second?
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So voted. Thank you.